Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Singer Dad Reacts. My name is Josh, and many of you have been waiting for me to get to this reaction. Several months ago, I reacted to the band Disturbed singing their cover of The Sound of Silence, the music video version, and it was amazing. It was an incredible performance and one of my favorites that I've reacted to. And so today I'm going to follow that up with a reaction to the Conan performance, which many of you have said is even better, which I find that hard to believe, but I'm excited to see you prove me wrong. And as I do with all of my reactions, I'm going to start off by going through the lyrics. I did do also a little bit more research on Disturbed. So the band was formed in 1994, and which is kind of cool. That's the year my wife and I got married, so that's pretty cool. It's on the same year. And the band members are, of course, David Draymond, the lead singer, and then the guitarist, keyboardist Dan Donegan, the bassist John Moyer, and the drummer is Mike Wingren. So, and they've been very successful as a rock band. They've released 7 studio albums, I believe, and they've sold like 17 million records or something like that. So, very successful, very popular group. So with that, I'm going to jump right in on the lyrics from Paul Simon, of course. And it reads, "Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone. 'Neath the halo of a street lamp, I turned my collar to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more, people talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs that voices never share, and no one dared disturb the sound of silence. Fools, said I, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. But my words like silent raindrops fell and echoed in the wells of silence, and the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made, and the sign flashed out its warning in the words that it was forming. And the sign said, the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls, and whispered in the sounds of silence." It's some of the most beautiful lyrics of any song. I mean, it's just very poetic, and there's a lot of symbolism here. And I think part of, after kind of looking a little deeper at it and reading some of your comments and doing a little more research on my end, I think there is a deeper meaning from what I mentioned last time, beyond just kind of the music part of it. And it deals with technology in our day and kind of this state of society where we're just kind of and I kind of look at it like songs that are never heard or kind of like what's the other one here? People talking without speaking. So right, it's like we're locked into our phones and our mobile devices, and we're not really engaged with each other and connecting and taking a stand for things that we should, and being passionate about things and building deep relationships with people, and maintaining a good work ethic. All of these things that are kind of the fabric of society and have been from the beginning, and of course forming solid family units, which as those of you that are loyal subscribers to my channel know is very important to me, is the family unit. So I think all of these things kind of are being spoken about here with with the words of the song. And it's silence like a cancer grows. He's trying to say, hear my words that I might teach you, that I might reach you. The words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls. So we need to seek words from the good books and look to a higher power and all of these things that will help us to be a better people and to be kinder to each other and less kind of warmongering and all these other things, right? Yeah. So that's my updated take on the lyrics for The Sound of Silence. Take them for what you will. But yeah, as I said, I'm excited to jump into this reaction. And as I've mentioned before, if you like my reactions and you're a fan of my channel and you enjoy the way I approach it, and if you could please support the channel and subscribe, click on the little notification bell there and just show your support that way. I would really appreciate it. And with that, let's get started here. I will kind of let you know if you're new to my channel and you're coming here and you're a fan of Disturbed and you like a specific type of reactor. I was almost leery to do this reaction, if I'm being honest, just because the reaction I've done that had the most negative comments and hurtful and kind of rude comments was actually my Disturbed reaction from before. So, and I think a lot of the people that came to see the Disturbed reaction wanted someone that's just going to watch it all the way through and say a few words at the end, and then that's the end of the reaction. But that's not the way that I approach my reactions. So I'm here as a classically trained vocalist to react and to analyze and to assess what feelings are coming to me from the song and the power of the lyrics and the performance. Those are the things that I focus on with my reactions. So if that's not your style, then I'm kind of letting you know now that you may not appreciate the way that I react. So, but if you watch it straight through and you still don't really care for my reactions, I would just ask that you can put your opinions in there, but be constructive about it and just, put in there that you don't care for my style of reacting. That's fine. I can handle that. But just don't be negative and rude and insulting, or likely hide your comments from the channel. So let's not do that. That's part of why I formed this channel, is I feel that music can light the world, and that's what it's really all about. So be a light. Thank you.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence.
Wow. And this always impresses me when I'm watching live performances, when a singer can get up there, and because there are artists out there, and they are studio artists, right? You guys all kind of know which ones I'm talking about, where they can go into the studio and, through, the things that they can do in the studio and altering the voice or adding things or cleaning things up. They can create a specific sound or enhance the voice, things like that, right? But I get the feeling with David that, and just from what I'm hearing and the tone that he has and the clarity and the pitch, that he is one that sounds amazing live and doesn't really need all of that stuff as part of what is done in the studio. So that's awesome. He's great. And as I'm trying to do with all my reactions, I go back a little bit when I pause just to make sure I don't miss anything. So
remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my collar to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stared by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs and voices never shared, and no one dared disturb the sound of silence.
wow. I love how they just started off, and again, I've talked about artists and the whole storytelling aspect, but they started off and it was just really simple with just the piano accompaniment there, and then they kind of built it out, and then so his voice started off soft as well, and then he added more power to his voice, and then as that kind of grew and he raised it up, it's in a higher octave as well, so it's going to come with more power. It's not in that kind of lower part of his register. And so that's all kind of tied in with this building from the orchestra and all the instruments. So they really thought this through, and it's very well orchestrated and put together. This is awesome. And you can tell, like, I think some of you mentioned in the comments he had like the bel canto, the training, kind of classically similar training when he was younger, and that is kind of coming through with the way that he's kind of forming the vowels and opening and having a good chamber for the sound to come through and a nice resonant sound. So I can definitely hear that.
Disturb the sound of silence. Fools say that you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words and I might teach you. Take my arms and I might
There's that little growl coming in.
But my words,
nice and open.
Silent raindrops fell and echoed in the wells of silence, and the people bowed and prayed.
Oh yeah, that grittiness.
To the neon god they made.
Wow.
And the sign flashed out its warning, and the words that it was forming.
Go David.
And the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway.
Wow. That was amazing. Yeah, the fact that he could bring that kind of power. And from my research, I believe he was ill. I think that might be why he was sitting down, if I recall, instead of standing up, because of his strength, because he wasn't feeling well. So being the fact that I'm a performer and performed in front of large audiences, doing solo work in choirs, in small groups, a cappella groups, and things like that. I've been there as far as when you're sick and you have to give a performance, and especially when you're singing by yourself, like he is here. It's challenging sometimes, really, especially if it's a song that kind of stretches your voice and that you really, need to bring that power and everything. So for him to be able to come and give a performance like that, I mean, number one, he's got to have some pretty good support and training and a good vocal mechanism and good vocal control to be able to kind of get around that sickness, right? To kind of push through it and give a little extra support and kind of do little things like there were a couple of times where he took more breaths than he probably would normally, and probably most people wouldn't notice that, but the only reason I noticed is because I'm cognizant of those things, because that's something that I've had to do before, and so you kind of notice things like that. But yeah, his voice is just awesome. I really like it a lot, and believe it or not, I mean, I do like rock. I do like hard rock. I'm not a heavy metal fan, so I think some of the songs that Disturbed does, I probably wouldn't really care for if it involves a lot of screaming. That's just the way I am. I try to be open to different styles of music, but I just really don't care for that style of music with the screaming and stuff like that. If there are other Disturbed songs where it's more kind of this style, where he's doing more kind of the singing and less of the screaming type stuff, then please do recommend that down in the comments. I'd love to hear, his voice doing those things and singing those types of songs. But yeah, if you're just a diehard fan and you love the heavy metal stuff where, there's a lot of that screaming and stuff like that, yeah, please don't recommend those, because that's just not my thing. But I have the utmost respect for rockers that have really good voices. I think I may have mentioned it before in a reaction. The lead singer for Queensryche, I think, he was classically trained. Pat Benatar was classically trained. Several others. I think I want to say the guy that's for Aha was also classically trained, I believe. So, and some of these are not from heavy metal groups necessarily. It's more kind of pop or rock. But there's a variety of artists out there that have different training and utilize that differently, right? Anyway, so yeah, I really loved it. I loved how he can add the growl in there, and I mentioned this in the other reaction, and yet still have good quality pitch coming through, and the sound is still fairly rich and resonant coming through, even with that growl. That's not easy to do if you've ever tried to do that, because usually what will happen is you'll go overboard, and then it'll be too growly and the tone will be missing from it, or it'll just be kind of flat and not be really filled out sound. That's real easy to do when you're trying to kind of add that gravelly tone to it. But it comes with power when he sings, and considering the fact that he wasn't feeling well, he really put a lot of power into that performance, and so bravo to him. And like I said, the arrangement was excellent. The all the instruments and the timing and everything was perfect on that very last part where he does the sound of silence and then he stops and everything is kind of supposed to be quiet at that same time when he stops. The timing and everything on all of that was just perfect. The way they just worked together, him and the orchestra and all the instrumentalists. So amazing, awesome performance. And I look forward to more performances from Disturbed and other similar artists. So if you want to put some of your recommendations down in the comments, or other artists or others that you want to see me react to. I am interested in new artists as well. I'm trying to do more new artists. I have, I think, 1 or 2 coming up here. So what helps me is if you can kind of vote in your comments. So some of the artists I'm looking at are like Zoshin and Katrina Velarde and Jessie J from the singer competition. And there's a couple more. But if you have any of those artists I just mentioned that you're like, oh, yeah, please react to that one. Or if you have others that you feel I would love more, then please suggest those in the comments. And then if you see someone who suggested a particular artist or performance and you agree with that, then just click like on that comment. And then if I see like one of those where it's like, 20 plus likes or whatever, then I know, okay, yeah, there's a big group that wants that particular reaction. So that's a good way to let me know that a majority of you or a large group of you are interested in that reaction. I'm going to close out my reaction the way that I always do, by reaching out across the world to all of you and to say that you need to know that you are loved, you can accomplish your dreams, and you are special. And that's just something that you all need to know, because I think we all sell ourselves short with our potential and what we are capable of in this life. And sometimes it's hard to have hope through the challenging times that we face. And there are many of those going on in the world today. And but I hope that you can come to this channel and you can learn to better appreciate the music and allow it to light your heart and give you hope and inspire you to try harder tomorrow and the next day, and each day just stand a little taller, try a little harder, hope a little more, and eventually you can gain more happiness and joy in your life. I hope that for each of you. And so I'm going to try to do more reactions and get more active on my channel. I've got a lot of things going on, but I'm going to really try to pay more attention and put out more reactions and spend more time with all of you. So thank you again for all of your support, and I've been going back over some of my older reactions and reading some of the comments, and it's really touching and encouraging and inspiring to me to read your very kind and supporting comments that I've been getting over the last year, a little over a year, since I started my channel back in last July. So thank you again, especially for those that have hung on and through kind of the famine of reactions that's been recently with not that many coming. I am going to be starting to do more Dimash and some of the other artists that have been a big part of my channel. So keep your eyes posted for those. They're coming. And thank you and take care.